Welcome to D-Mop Garage. We're working on the 54 barn door single cab, and in the last episode we did these bits, and this bit here I've just got a brace on there at the moment because we have already cut out this section here, which is the rotten piece that did go like that. And of course if I took that out and didn't have a brace here, the whole thing would have dropped, so that's what that's for, but we'll just chop that out later. So we're going to rebuild this mess and get that little section finished. And once we've done that, then we've got to fix this little bottom part here. And when we've done that, then we've got to fix this little bottom part here. And when we've done that, we've got... There's a lot of work. There's heaps going on. It's getting there slowly. I'm putting as many hours as I can into it. See, I want to get the chassis finished. We do have a lot of parts coming that we can start putting it back on. We are going to try to keep as much as the original stuff. If we can use it, we will use it. Anyway, let's continue and get this little piece made up and go from there. So we've chopped out a couple of pieces. Now I had to make this little piece here, and I don't have a shrinker, so I just have to do little relief cuts and then weld it back up. That's going to basically live in here like so, and then we're going to plug weld it from the back, as you can see there. Now that little piece just lives like that, and that's going to actually marry up to this little curve here, and you'll see how it all goes in a second. I've got to just wait for the paint to dry a little bit more. It's pretty close to it. I'm just going to weld that into there, and then this whole C channel can just get welded in. I wish I had my folder. I've got a really good folder, but it's so heavy and I can't get it down here to the shed, and I've actually got it at an oven boy's place, but it's all packed away, and I've been just having to use the vise over there to bash all these, you know, all these pieces, so I can make it work with the vise and it'll work just fine. So we'll get this welded in and get it tacked over there and see how she looks. Righto, so we are welded in. I've got to do a little bit of touch-up work just in there with the grinder. But yeah, no, the rail's in. And we're going to flip this upside down just so I can weld the underneath of it. But that part's all done, top part's done. I've got to add a little tiny step in the top of these rails where the top of the valance welds to, just so that it's nice and level. There is a slight little step down, so we'll do that later. I'm not too fussed about it yet. We've got to now tackle the other side over there, which is rotten, just that bottom little section. That shouldn't take too long. Let's smash that out quickly. Right, so we're going to repair this section here. I'm going to cut that out. We're also going to repair this bottom part here as well. And we've got a little bit of touch-up welding to do on these bits. So get that cut off first. Okay, we've got a piece cut. We're going to get this sucker welded in here. And it does have a little bit of a slight bend, so I'm just going to weld the first section and then just start bending it up as I go along. So done deal. Okay, we're going to chop this section here out now. Transfer it over to this, cut her out. So we've got our piece ready to go. And this is going to basically sit in just like that, and with a bit of a gap of course, and we're going to weld that sucker in. Alright, and you can see we've got that all tacked in position. We're just going to double check everything, make sure nothing is warped, and then we'll finish that section off. And then from there we've got one little hole here and one on the other side, and then we've got to take care of the joins. So that's those bits done, and then obviously we've got to start making the side pieces. Right, let's keep moving.
A few moments later.
So just moving along forward, we've done a few more repairs. Obviously that bottom section, we've welded that in, that's all done. We've also just finished off the inside of that section. We've patched up a couple more bits. We're just tackling these corners now, which are pretty rotten on both sides. And you can see what I've done here is, instead of trying to make this all in one go, which it's pretty thick gauge metal, and to try and shrink this, and you can see what I've done, I'm cutting a panel out. I'll weld this piece back in, and then I can take care of the top and the bottom. So that will just come out right now. We'll use this as a template, chop it out onto this, weld this new piece in, and then we can take this part off and that part off, and then weld those parts in. Okay, we'll get this little piece here, and we're just going to weld that into the side like that. Now we can take care of the top and the bottom. Let's go. All right, we'll flop that back. Okay, I just did a bit of a clean up in here. It was getting a little bit out of control, just with the dust on the ground, so I've swept everything out, and we're just going to start again. I've put this back in its spot for now. We've still got a little bit of fandangling to do around here, but I don't want to weld the two halves together yet, because then it'll be all interlocked, and I probably want to put those sheets up on the table. So I think next we're going to get these guys and chop them out. We've got two of those to make, and that's going to be the final part of, well, I suppose for the chassis, the fabricating parts. Once these two are done, then we can actually work on these side pieces here and get this completely joined together. So let's unpick what we need off that and make some new parts. Okay guys, so here's one of these side panels, and you can see I've just drawn around it with the texture, and I've worked out this is that section that's missing, that's going to go along the frame rail. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this section here out and keep, obviously, this top part. I'll sandblast and clean that up, and then we can just cut the rest of this out and marry the two pieces together, and hopefully all will be good. So yeah, let's just chop this section out and go from there. So we've finished off one of the panels. You can see here I've just welded this. Got a little bit of work still to do just to clean up those welds, but that's pretty much where I've got to drill my plug holes to plug weld it against the frame anyway. And we've got to still bend this little corner up. That's one piece done, so happy with that. And we've got that mess over there to continue with. We might just put a bit of phosphoric on this sucker and call it good for now. So we've got a little bit more progress done. We've got the other side manufactured, and that's just placed in position. So we wanted to make sure everything was going to be square, level, the whole 9 yards, which it is. I've gone and put a level across the top of here to make sure that we're, and you know, the gap between here and here. I also have welded in the nuts for the brake line, and on the other side there's 2 on one side, 3 on the other. You can see there's the 3 holes on that side, and then we've got 2 holes on this side. So yeah, they're ready to get welded in. Obviously we've got to get that center section fixed up first, so I've got to sandblast that and just give it a bit of a panel beat, and then we're going to KBS behind the back of all this so that it is sealed up from the elements. Looking good. They actually came together pretty nicely. No real issues. I mean, it's really hard not having a folder here. I've just got to do it all by hand using the vise up there, but I'm making it work. You know, it's not perfect. That little section down here needs to be trimmed a little bit more. Just this piece here, we'll trim that a little bit further. But all in all, yeah, we're ready to move on. All right, let's keep going. So we have some more progress, guys. We have the chassis rails now joined together. That's it. So this has all been done. We've welded both sides, and I've just got these panels. They're not tacked in yet. We've got to sort out a couple of things in the middle first. This part here needs to be, you can see she's pretty beat up, so I'll sandblast that and knock all this straight again, and then we can get that stitched back inside. Yeah, look, I've got the clutch little tube over there welded in, and also the brake line little holders. I've got those in as well. And yeah, she's coming together. Like the rails, you know, everything else is bolted up nice now. This part here, I just sandblasted that, but at least it's one piece now, which is fantastic news. one more step in getting it off the table. I don't know. Look, I'll probably keep it on here for a little bit longer. We'll see how maybe get the bottom floor done, start building the framework on it, and then get it off and maybe put it on a rotisserie after that. But at least she is moving along nice. All right, so we've got to drill some holes for the plug welds because we have to plug weld on the other side of this lip here. So basically along here, we're going to have to drill, because the spot welder I've got, which is the one down there on the ground, it's macho. Let's have a look at it. Yes, it hasn't got a very good jaw in terms of like a long jaw on it. So it's not going to reach out to do much, unfortunately. But I mean, I can use it for some things, but not all of it. Anyway, so just one more little item we have to deal with, which I only just picked up. One of the chassis rails right down the end there has a very slight twist in it. So we're going to have to heat it up to relieve the stress on it and get it back. Now, it's hard to see it. It's actually right here. So this rail here has got a little bit of a, you can see there, that's not level. So we've got to kick the bottom that way and the top that way slightly. So we're going to do some heating up on the top up here, and some of these little scratches here, we're going to have to weld those up as well. But we're just going to add some heat with the TIG torch and just see if we can get the twist out of it. Let's give it a crack. Okay, so you can see along the top there where I've just added some heat. We'll just obviously grind those. They're not really welds, but they're just hot spots. But it actually did work, and it took out the tension and the twist out of the chassis. You can see there. She's bang on where it should be. So it just had a little bit of an ink to it. Now, obviously, once all the ribs go across it, it would have taken care of it anyway. But you don't want tension on something, so now they're just sitting there. I mean, that one hasn't even got a clamp on it, so it's sitting perfect. What we're going to do, I suppose, now is we'll probably start KBS in the inside of these sections here in preparation for welding the side panels on. All right, let's get some KBS on this chassis. All right, go and wash this out. Okay, so let's try and straighten out this panel using a hammer and the concrete, and let's see what happens. Piece of steel and put it along the top here. Okay, we will get this sandblasted, and we've just got to clean up some of these edges here, but that's not bad. It's pretty straight. It's, yeah. Guys, it's the next morning and all the KBS is dried, and I've just pretty much put some other zinc-rich black satin along the rails. I mean, look, all that's going to get painted later anyway in the factory colour. we're just going to start drilling the holes for the plug welds, which there's quite a lot of them. And we'll go and use the pedestal drill up there and get all these little holes drilled, and then we can start getting ready to attach the side pieces. Let's get them drilled. So we've got all the plug holes drilled, and you can see this section in here was the paint, the black paint that I put on last night. We've got the copper spray because that's going to burn. Everything in there is ready to go. So yeah, let's clamp these suckers on and see if we can get everything else to fit. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay peeps, so we have both sides in and we've just ground back the welds. Got to do a little bit more finishing up just over in that corner down there, but at least they're all in. And the best thing about all this is even if I undo the clamps here, you can see we're not bouncing around with the frames. They're actually staying where they're supposed to. They're not under any stress, which is fantastic. So that is complete. Next we're going to just start to get some of the cross parts. We're going to take this piece up to a mate's house. We've got to remake that. I'm going to have a crack at it myself using his bead roller, so we'll see how that goes. Also get the treasure chest area, that part down there, we've got to repair that. Also repair the floors and go from there. So again, thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next episode.